Son, step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gon' rise to the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
I just received this awesome gift in the mail today, and I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate it a ton. This shirt gets me ready for the holiday season with Bullhorn Betty.
So busy back here writing up a storm, which reminds me, I've got to push print, so I guess I'm not going to kill the paper. I'll just read from the screen. I hope everybody's having a great day. I decided we're going to do everything in this final segment. This is going to be our part 5 of Kelly Siegler, The Secrets of Stardom, Star Under Fire, right? Star Under Fire. I did some digging into the people that wrote this article. I had this crazy feeling that these people, I know, and I had this sneaking suspicion that these writers were some type of political activists. I don't know. I know my kind. I don't know what to say. I know my kind, right? So I did look into them, and we'll be talking about them as well. So let me, without like further ado, good afternoon, everybody. Guidance is the first to say good morning, or good afternoon, I should say. Followed by November Rain, followed by Bullhorn Betty or Beatty, or what is it? I don't know. What is it? I don't know what it is. I don't know. And Lulu's Nana, it's nice to see you. Sonia, Sweet Misery, it's nice to see you. Sweet Misery reminding us, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button on your way in. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Tammy Sue, it's nice to see you. Elsie, good afternoon. I am Team Summer. Good afternoon to you too, my love. And of course, our beloved Sonia. If you guys need those special custom items, please be sure to hit our beautiful Sonia up. Look who it is. Colleen, it's nice to see you. Merry Christmas, my love. Merry Christmas. I don't know if you guys say that way over there or not. I don't know what you... That sounds awesome. Do you guys say Merry Christmas? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm from the state. But it's nice to see you. God bless you. God bless you. So we're going to be going over, this is, and I keep calling it an article, okay? I finally got, I wasn't corrected. I was sitting here typing up my synopsis, right? And I'm like, it's a short story. And that, like, duh, you know, like, Lord have mercy. And so I'm finding out, you know, it is a short story. So I kept calling it an article because what I know, right? It's just what I know. And it's really a short story that has, I don't know, a few parts to it, whatever. We do the same to you. That's so funny. I get it. That's funny. That's cute. Hey, Sheila, it's nice to see you. Merry Christmas to you as well. Merry Christmas to you as well. Let me find my little piece of paper that I wrote up here, because I did kind of break this all down about what was like really going on. So this is going to take us just a little bit, but let me go ahead and give you guys the Reader's Digest version of for those that don't know, I can't imagine us being in true crime and not knowing what cold justice is or who Kelly Siegler is. But you know what? Just because I know who they are and I'm beloved with them, hey, Huntress, nice to see you, doesn't mean you guys are. So I'll just throw this up here for real quick and let you guys, it's like a minute and 40 seconds, just a clip to get you guys acclimated to what cold justice is. Do I not have volume?
Cold Justice is a TV show unlike any other show that exists on TV, because what we do is go out to small counties and cities all across the country where murder cases are waiting to be solved and worked on, and do our very best to see if we can do whatever we can to try and put those cases together to get justice for families. And it's real. I'm a former prosecutor, so I know what it takes to put a case together in the courtroom. I'm working with cops that have worked hundreds of murder cases in their careers, and we bring that kind of experience and knowledge and know-how everywhere we go all across the country, trying to truly get something done for so many families out there that are hurting. It's just what happens when we meet the families. You know who you're going to be meeting as far as the relationship to the murder victim, but when you look into their eyes and you have them tell you what they've gone through, what the criminal justice system has done to further break their heart, and you feel their pain and frustration, and they tell you about their loved one, how do you not feel that? How do you not want to do your very best to help those people? I don't think that you can ever quit feeling that if you do this job.
So there you have it. That's kind of the rundown of where we are with the cold justice. What cold justice is, they're just a bunch of people that have some talents and decided to use it to better the community abroad. And I understand why they say to small communities, because small communities really don't have the budget. I mean, that really is what we're fighting right now with Summer Wells' case, a community that's broke. And so you have these people that know how to get stuff done, know what they need to have done, and they go into these places and share that experience with them in an effort to close cases. And again, 49 arrests, 21 convictions from the work for the 6 seasons Cold Justice aired That is a amazing, all of its own. Good afternoon, Huntress. Reggie, it's nice to see you. Pittsburgh Nurse, it's good to see you and have you here as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and read. This is the final chapter of this short story, and this is Texas versus Pribble. Now, we're going to call Mr. Pribble Mr. P, because I don't know if it's Pribble, you know, and good Lord, if we don't get it exactly right, you know, we got the exact police out there that want to club Betty over the head for misstating. Good Lord, I'm lying about who I'm talking about, don't you know? So, section 4, we're going to call him Mr. P. This is going to be a more touchy, like everything else, I kind of forewarned you that it was going to start getting a little more graphic, okay? And this is going to be the part where it gets a little more graphic. So those that are sensitive to this kind of topic, this is about 5 people that were murdered in their home. Well, I'll just read the rundown before we get started on here. So the beginning of Cold Justice, according to this short story about Kelly Siegler, the star of the acclaimed reality TV series, the first chapter of the short story is about a case Kelly and her team, which included, at this time, Yolanda McCleary and former Las Vegas crime scene investigator Johnny Bonds, a retired Houston homicide investigator. The story briefly and smugly explains the murder case from 1987 in Alamogordo, New Mexico. This was a case of a 29-year-old woman, Maggie Pointer, disappeared, and what was left of her remains were discovered 17 years later. This article inappropriately points out how Siegler's team recognized the statutes of limitations that had run out on a second-degree murder charge and were looking to see if evidence rose to the level of a first-degree murder where there were no statutes of limitations. A little background into the case that wasn't in the biasly written short story about Kelly Siegler's professional practices as a prosecutor in Texas. Pointer, who was known as Margie, to her friends, family, and coworkers, she was last seen in a parking lot of the Holiday Inn on White Sands Boulevard around 6 a.m. on November 20th, 1987. She was 27 years old at the time of her disappearance. Another article that we're going to be referencing says she was 25. I want to let you know that I've taken this verbatim from the very articles that I clipped them from. Do your own research. If her age, whether she was 25 or 27, really is that significant to you, please do your own research on that. I just thought I'd throw that out there. She was 27 years old at the time of her disappearance, married and a mother of a 5-year-old boy. She lived on Lamar Circle with her son and husband at the time of her disappearance. Pointer's white 1985 Nissan Sentra was found abandoned in the parking lot adjacent to the Holiday Inn, and that was at the 1400 block of South White Sand Boulevard. Pointer's husband was on active duty military and stationed overseas at the time of her disappearance. I heard he was specifically in Japan. Pointer's remains were found on March 18, 2004, and positively identified on May 27, 2004. These are details that were not in that article that I thought were important for you guys to know about, because it is referencing that particular case. The person the team ultimately set their sights on was a man by the name of Peter Mullins. Again, this is not in the article. I did some back work on this, so you guys had all the information. Mullins was later identified as a co-worker, and many believe Margie was having an affair with him. The DA declined to charge Mullins with the murder, which outraged many fans of Cold Justice. The Cold Justice TV series did an amazing job of solving many cases. During their 6th season on the air, they are responsible for 49 arrests and 21 convictions. While there is no doubt that Kelly has faced her fair share of controversy, she has always risen above and usually in a better position than she went into the controversy. During the first chapter of the short story, the authors Jordan Smith and Liliana Segura were quick to jump into unfounded allegations that Kelly has a history of withholding exculpatory evidence from the defense, including in death penalty cases. But when you look into the backgrounds of the writers of this article, you get a clearer picture of why they set their eyes on Kelly Siegler. It's because they are political activist journalists. Liliana Segura is currently an anti-gun, anti-death penalty advocate. So Kelly, being a trial tiger, she is, and the amazing resume she has, including handling more than 200 trials, securing more than 60 murder convictions and deaths and 19 death sentences, sure has the activist journalist who has a great disdain for the death penalty and the rising stardom of Kelly Siegler and the work on cold justice makes Kelly an easy target for this pair of activists residing in Texas. And that's what I'm going to call them after reading their resume. To round out the first chapter, the writing duo starts to introduce Ronald Pribble Jr., Mr. P, into the case. The defense attorney did, in fact, raise professional and ethical concerns for his client, who was on death row. But during the subsequent hearings, including one hearing at the appellate level, none of those allegations were ever realized about Kelly, at least publicly. While the author of this biased short story attempted to paint Ron in a positive light, I don't think that will ever be possible, but I digress. The argument brought up does resonate with me. It does make me pause and deliberate on the notion that jailhouse snitches and informants and the informant system can be abused. I agree it can. A lot of the policies and the procedures that are implemented throughout our public departments can be abused. However, we elect and or hire the right people so the systems aren't exploited. They work hard to have fail-safes in place to prevent this from happening. Does this prevent the system from being abused? I'm sure that it probably does not. But is it widespread? I really don't think it is. But this article appears as though it does. Kelly has denied any wrongdoing, and quite frankly, I do believe her. As we roll into chapter 2, which was titled House Full of Bodies, that chronicled the moments of the neighbor Gregory Francisco became aware of the victim's house on fire. Greg described the night before the murders being no different. He usually hangs out with the victim at their house, but for whatever reason, Greg didn't go on this particular night. Greg turned in about 10 p.m. and it appeared his neighbor was winding down. Whatever was going on at his neighbor's house was winding down. However, the next morning when he opened his garage, he smelt smoke and then saw the neighbor's house had smoke coming out of the top. He describes running over there and the door being hot, which he kicked in and found his friend dead on the floor of the garage. Once first responders arrived, they found a partially nude adult female set on fire inside the home, and which was the origin of the house fire. But the saddest of all were the 3 children who were asleep at the time. All died of smoke inhalation, 2 7-year-old females and 1 22-month-old female. Some of the actual details are disturbing. However, the bottom line is Ron stated that he did not do it. He was clearly the last person that saw them alive. There were details released that one of the victims, Steve Herrera, did a few bank robberies with Ron. Steve was supposed to sell drugs from the money made from the heist so they could have lots of money, according to statements Rod made to detectives on the case. When Rod couldn't pass his polygraph test, he told detectives he left something out. He said Steve's girlfriend, the mother of his 22-month-old child, and him were having an affair. So law enforcement received the DNA results, and when Ron's DNA was located in Nilda's mouth, law enforcement didn't press the issue any further at the time. However, later it was learned that those close to Nilda said she made several claims about how Ron was creepy. Ron creeped her out. She didn't like Ron. She wanted Ron to leave her home and never come back. Something you don't hear from somebody that's having a secret love affair with a man. Also, a lot of money came up missing from that very home the night that the family was murdered and the house was set on fire. The case went unsolved for a couple years until Kelly was assigned the case and sought help from Johnny Bonds in late 2000. Chapter 3 chronicles her rise in the DA's office and paints the picture of Kelly being a curious youngster from a small town that wanted more and was a go-getter to all that knew her. So when she worked hard to get her law degree and went straight from law school to the DA's office, it was no wonder that she would do amazing things. She worked really hard and was soon rallied as the trial tiger for how she was able to explain these cases, even straddling a colleague on a bloody mattress as she mimicked stabbing him 193 times, which is what the defendant had done to the victim in this particular case. This was very, very powerful display for the jury. After receiving a fax with the DNA result, it was determined the only way for that amount of semen to be in Nilda's mouth, and the fact that her friends knew she didn't like Ron, he creeped her out, could only happen if he SA'd her right before he killed her. She didn't even have time to spit before she was murdered and set on fire. So that's kind of where we left off yesterday. That's kind of the the longer version, much more than, hey, Justice Jane, nice to see you. B. Betty, nice to see you. Unicorn, it's nice to see you. So that's kind of where we left off yesterday. And you guys see that the reason why I decided to kind of vocalize it, you guys know I never write stuff out. I wrote that statement out because I wanted to make sure I hit all the key topics that were important to me to express to you. This is where we're going to be getting into the actual case. And like I said, this is going to be a little more graphic. For those that are a little sensitive to this subject, this would be a great time for you probably not to attend the rest of this show because it's going to be pretty hard. So opening statements in Texas versus Mr. P took place October 14th, 2002 at a courthouse in downtown Houston. Presiding over the trial was District Judge Mark Kent Ellis, a former Harris County prosecutor turned defense attorney who was elected to the bench on a Republican ticket. Siegler was accompanied by Vic Weisner, an ex-cop and veteran of the DA's office with whom she teamed up with in previous death penalty cases. Siegler kicked off the state's case with provocation. What kind of man would go in the house and take the whole family out and come out clean? She began over objections from Mr. P's lawyer. That kind of person is a bad motherfucker. I'm that kind of bad motherfucker. These are the words of the defendant. That's what this man said about what he did April 24th, 1999, right? So those are her opening remarks. Sorry for using the MF word. I know some people are sensitive to me cussing. It's in print. I had to do it. Okay. I'm reading an article here. Okay. A short story. Mr. P's words, Siegler told jurors, had been revealed by a man named Michael Beckham. Remember, we heard about Michael Beckham. What was it in chapter 1 or chapter 2? One of the two. Okay, so named Michael Beckham, who was incarcerated at federal prison known at FCI Beaumont. And I'm going to stand here today and tell you he's vile, disgusting man himself, she said. He's going to make you sick to your stomach. But his testimony was crucial. This man would describe how he befriended Mr. P at Beaumont and how Mr. P ultimately confessed to the crime. Let me ask you, do you think if we're not going to use a criminal for jailhouse informants, do you think that if we had a choir boy, do you think the choir boy would be sitting in a jail? I'm just curious. I just want to make sure that we're making sense over here. You know, there's a need for jailhouse informants, period. Siegler previewed the state's other key pieces of evidence. The DNA taken from the sperm found in Nilda's mouth. A forensic expert would prove that Mr. P assaulted Nilda just moments before he shot her, set her on fire, and left her children to die, Siegler said. That's the kind of man Mr. P is, she declared, and he's guilty of capital murder. The trial lasted 2 weeks, with the first several days focused on the fire and the death of the 3 little girls. Amid repeated warnings from the judge, who urged people in the courtroom to control their emotions, prosecutors introduced autopsy photos showing soot and mucus on the children's faces, emphasizing their struggle to breathe before they died. Yet basic elements of the fire remained unclear, including precisely how it was set. Also puzzling was the missing murder weapon. Despite the affidavits arguing that Mr. P had used a .38 revolver, the same ballistic experts now testify that the weapon had likely been a 9mm pistol. This is something that I disagree with. People that don't know about firearms. Now, granted, I can tell you the ballistic expert knows about firearms. That's not what I'm saying here. But for the normal average Joe person that doesn't shoot a gun, never held a gun, doesn't know the differences between a 40, a 38, or a 9mm, a rifle, a revolver, or a semi-automatic. If you have no clue about guns, you probably don't know this. A 38 caliber revolver, a 38 caliber semi-automatic, they can fire 9mm shells. Okay, I just want to make sure you understand that. And just for my receipts, I looked it up on Google. Okay, I looked it up on Google for all those exact police. There it is. 38 special cartridges in the cylinder can be exchanged with a 9mm cylinder and shoot 9mm. Okay, just want to make sure that we, for our exact police all the way out there in the back, I'm never going to let them live this down, right? Never! Never. Idiots. Oh, Lord. But perhaps the most confounding testimony came from Brown, who said that he'd never considered any other suspect apart from Pribble, a fact Siegler saw fit to reiterate. Yet the detective couldn't explain why his investigation justified such a singular focus. He didn't pay attention to Mr. P's interrogation, he said, nor did he remember the names of anyone he interviewed in the aftermath of the murders. Among the people Brown apparently didn't recall was the most critical witness for the defense, a 12-year-old girl named Christina, who lived next door to Mr. P's parents. She told police that she had seen Mr. P and Herrera arrive before dawn on April 24th, 1999. Okay, we're getting to this point. Remember at the beginning, we were in the very first chapter, we were literally on the very first page. And one of the comments, actually, I could probably read it for you, where they went a few blocks away. Remember, I told you that law enforcement went a few blocks away to question Mr. P. And I said, this is an important fact that you need to remember because law enforcement went only a few blocks away. And I even went as far as to say, not a half a mile away, not a quarter mile away, not 5 miles away, not 20 miles away. Hey, Boucher, it's nice to see you, love. Remember me? Oh, I just saw Just Deb. Mike, nice to see you. Remember, I told you, it's very important that you remember that he was only a few blocks away. A few blocks away. A few blocks away. Let me say that again. A few blocks away. Okay, now that we're done. Now I'm going to get back onto the story here. So the neighbor saw Mr. P and Herrera arrive before dawn on April 24th. Although there was no record of her eyewitness account in the police report, Brown said he did not document their conversation. Christina's testimony lent credence to Mr. P's claim that Herrera had driven him home around 4 a.m. Christina had turned 15 by the time she took the stand. She said she knew both Herrera and Mr. P. Herrera used to curse at her and her siblings when they played kickball and accidentally hit his car. In the early morning hours of the 24th, she said she got out of bed to use the restroom and spotted the two men from her window, which faced the front of the house. It had to be after 1 a.m., since that was when her parents came home after work from the Mexican restaurant that they owned. Christina and her sister waited up for them on Friday night. That night, Mr. P and Herrera were just standing outside beside Jeff's dad's truck talking. And then I saw Jeff walk into the house and I saw Steve leave. Siegler did her best to pick apart Christina's account. Is it possible, Christina, that the night you're remembering was Thursday night instead of Friday? And she absolutely affirmed no. She did. She said she looked at the clock to write down or memorize it. I read that wrong. Did she look at the clock to write down or memorize it forever, what time it was when all this happened? And Christina said no, because a 12-year-old little girl would never do that, right? Siegler asked Christina to read part of Mr. P's statement aloud. I then asked Steve to take me home. It was about 4 a.m., she read. So if Herrera dropped Mr. P off, Siegler said, you wouldn't have been awake to see if Jeff snuck back out of the house to go back over to Steve's house, would you? And that's a good point. That's a good point. If it seemed like a stretch for Pribble to have left Herrera's place after a night of heavy drinking only to return to murder the whole household, Siegler and Weisner didn't push the scenario very hard. Instead, they left the timeline vague. Jurors sought clarity during deliberations and asked the court to read back testimony about what happened when. The jury also seemed intrigued by Christina, requesting more details on when she was first interviewed by Brown. But in the end, the alibi provided by Christina was no match for the two witnesses at the crux of the state's case: Beckham, the jailhouse informant, and Watson, the DNA analysis. A 41-year-old former bodybuilder once managed Gold's Gym. Beckham, a smooth talker, fit and confident in his prison uniform. Siegler was upfront about Beckham's incentive to testify, asking him to describe the deal with the state. We have an understanding that if I testify truthfully to this court, that you will reciprocate by calling my federal prosecutor, he said. The prosecutor will file what is known as a Rule 35 motion to Beckham's judge. Under the rule, the criminal procedure, the judge could reduce Beckham's sentence if he's satisfied with what Beckham has provided, substantial assistance in Mr. P's case. But he had to be truthful, Siegler emphasized, or else no deal. And Beckham says, right. Beckham testified that he had gotten Siegler's name from his cellmate in Beaumont, Nathan Foreman. After getting in touch with Siegler in the fall of 2001, Beckham met her in bonds. She seemed skeptical of another inmate maybe spinning yarn, Beckham said, but after he laid out everything he knew in a letter, Siegler was convinced. Beckham said he'd met Mr. P through the exercise partner at Beaumont. Mr. P used to stop by while they worked out. One day, he struck up a conversation with Beckham directly. I was sitting on the bleachers in the rec yard, just catching some sun, listening to my radio, and Mr. P approached myself and Nathan, Beckham said. According to Beckham, Mr. P was seeking advice on his case. Before long, they were discussing it every day, while also making plans to go into the asphalt business together. Beckham said that Mr. P's account evolved over time. At first, he said, I didn't do it. He conceded that his DNA had been found on the female, but said that everyone knew he was having an affair. Did he say anything about the weapon, Siegler asked. Yes, Beckham said. Mr. P said the cops were looking for the .38 caliber revolver he owned, but that he'd sold it. That wasn't even the murder weapon, Pribble told him. Instead, he intimidated that he was successfully gotten rid of. I think they have a typo here. He'd successfully gotten rid of the weapon, telling Beckham. Asphalt's good sometimes for hiding things. So it sounds like he was implying that he put it in some cement or asphalt somewhere. Eventually, Beckham decided to get as much information as he could from Mr. P, thinking he could use it for his advantage. After becoming aggravated by Mr. P's insistence on his innocence, Beckham said he told him, I know what you did. I don't care. After that, Pribble spilled everything. The details Beckham shared on the stand could only have come from Mr. P, Siegler told the jury. How would Mike Beckham know all the things that he does unless the killer told him? When Beckham asked Mr. P how he got in and out of the house without being seen, he said Mr. P pointed out his time deployed as a Marine. They have special training as Marines. It's typically high intensity, low drag maneuver, he said, in what was presumably a special ops speak. It's over money, Beckham said. Mr. P confessed. Herrera effed him out of a lot of money, and he was going to kill Mr. P, so Mr. P decided to handle his business. To illustrate the level of trust that had developed between the informants and Pribble, the state, it's just cut into something. A photograph was taken. Oh, here's the photograph taken and it shows all of them. It shows this is right there. That's Beckham. Or, excuse me, that's not Beckham. That's Mr. P. This is Beckham, and this is Nathan Foreman right here. And these are all their families. It showed Beckham with his mother, Foreman with his parents. He called this brothers, and it's in print. It's printed over print for some reason. See right here, it printed over print, so I can't really read the print. I'm trying to read it. It showed Pribble with his mother, Beckham with his mother, and Foreman with his parents. He called us brothers and said he loved us. Beckham said, still, Mr. P was aware they might betray him. At one point, he told them that you're the only ones that can convict me, Beckham said. If you do that, you'll have to live with it, and I'm prepared to die. He used those words, Siegler asked. He used those words, Beckham said. Mr. P lead attorney Terry Gazer asked Beckham if he has ever lied under oath. He said, "Yes, I have." Beckham answered. In fact, Gazer continued, hadn't a federal judge in California explicitly found that Beckham lied in a different case? That's correct, Beckham said. Yet Gazer didn't elicit further detail about Beckham's apparent history of perjury. If Beckham's testimony filled the gaps in the state's case against Pribble, Watson, the DNA analysis gave prosecutors the tools that they needed to conjure a final harrowing image of Nilda's death. Have you thought about what Nilda went through the last moments of her life? Siegler asked the jury. According to Siegler, DNA had unlocked the story. Here's where it kind of gets a little more. Watson, 36, had spent 2 years as a forensic analysis at Fort Worth Police Department and 1 year at Dallas County Medical Examiner's Office before moving to a lab called GenScreen. In his years testing swabs in the presence of semen, Watson testified that he had found that the anal and vaginal swabs could retain usable quantities of sperm for roughly 2 to 3 days, but he couldn't recall ever getting even a partial male profile from the oral swab, even in the case where evidence was submitted quickly. So they're saying that it's very, very hard and very uncommon to actually get a hit from an oral swab because, you rinse your mouth out, you brush your mouth, you brush your teeth, that's all expelled. Okay. It's expelled fairly soon after I'm sorry, it's a little tough. I'm a little bit prudy when it comes to these things, so work with me here. Okay? You guys gotta have to figure this out for yourself. So he's saying that in his experience, it's very, very difficult to get DNA hits from the mouth. Watson drew a damning and highly speculative conclusion from this. Given the large amount of sperm on the swab, Nilda did not have a chance to eliminate Mr. P's semen by spitting or swallowing before she was shot. So he ejaculated and she died. Would the evidence be consistent with a male depositing the semen in Nilda's mouth moments, if not seconds before she was killed? Wisner asked, and it certainly would be consistent with that, Watson said. In his closing, Wisner exaggerated Watson's testimony for maximum effect. There is no way in the world that semen wasn't deposited either moments or seconds after Nilda died, he said. It says after. I think he meant before. Mr. P shot Herrera, then forced Nilda to orally copulate him at gunpoint and executed her as soon as he was finished. As horrific as that sounds, that's the only logical conclusion one can draw from that evidence. Siegler was even more dramatic. She left this world with his penis in her mouth, knowing her husband was dead, hoping to God that her babies would survive the nightmare that Mr. P, put her through. On October 23rd, Mr. P was convicted of murder. 2 days later, jurors sentenced him to death. It was another signature victory for Siegler. Her ability to do what few others can in continual amazement to some, but not to those who watch her work. Her supervisor wrote in her next performance review, but while her colleagues at the DA's office celebrate, others watch with growing sense of alarm. For one man sitting in Beaumont prison cell staring at a life sentence, the secret to Siegler's success was starting to come into focus, and the picture looked eerily familiar. Boo! 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 Bias article. Bias article. I'm sorry. Mr. P, bad guy. Bad guy. Not good guy at all. Not good guy at all. Okay? Bad guy. I truly believe this. He had means, motive, and opportunity. Okay? He was only a few blocks away. I think this is what my suspicion is. The girl, I believe Christina, the little 12-year-old girl that was 15 at the time that she took the stand. I believe her. I believe that she saw them, and as you remember, she saw them talking at the truck. Now, mind you, they were probably tatered up, seed up. They obviously smoked a J with Martinez. And so I think that they were, in a good mood. Tough guys get tougher when they drink, right? Tough guys get tougher when they drink. And I believe that when she saw them talking on the back of the truck, I think they were having a conversation about what's going on with the money. What's going on with this? What's going on with that? I think that at that moment, Steve wasn't being truthful with his childhood friend, and his childhood friend knew it. And I think his childhood friend wasn't thinking clearly, again, has a lot of alcohol and a lot of substances in his body, not thinking well. It's 4 something in the morning. They hadn't slept. So now you got booze, you got substances, and you got no sleep. This is a recipe for disaster. He probably got hot under the collar because he was already out of his element, being drunk and stoned. He probably started thinking in those split seconds, and the rage and fear and frustration set in. He was obviously paranoid that Steve was going to whack him and decided to go over there himself and take care of business. He left his house only a few blocks away, probably has walked over to Steve's house 1,000 times from his parents' house. Probably 1,000 times. No big deal. A few blocks away. He goes in there. He steals the bag of money. He shoots him, or he shoots him, then steals the bag of money and sets the woman on fire and leaves. And this is a Marine that was honorably discharged in 1995. Again, out of all the case studies that this team, this duo of activist journalists could write about, this was the worst one of them all. This did not make me feel pity. This did not make me, hate Kelly Siegler. It didn't make me dislike her anymore. It makes me want to applaud her and tell her thank you. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly, for doing a great and outstanding work. This guy is off the streets because of the work that she did. This guy is off the street. So I did some research. I did some research on our girls. I sure did. I did. So the case, it has the people right here. I don't know if you guys can see me. See, it's like got the people right here. So I click on their names. So I get on to Jordan. Nothing too bad. Nothing too bad. All right. Like, she seems all right, but they call it a state and national award-winning investigative journalist. Well, I looked into some of the awards, and I got to say that they're not from I don't know how the journalist worlds work, but when you get a decorated award and you want to say you're award winner, a national award winner, you want it to come from a place that has more than 1,200 followers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have a problem with that. Okay. You know, it should be something that's prestigious, and I don't know. But it's not really Jordan that's so concerning. It's Liliana that seems like she's kind of the, you know, the more of the activist person. You know, she's the one that goes after the harsh sentencing, the death penalty, the wrongful convictions. You know, she's the one that's got the Texas Gavel Award, and these are all political type of awards for journalism. These are all, you know, anti-government, anti-gun. I shouldn't say anti-government. They're actually pro-government, like they regulate the hell out of you. This is one of those people that like the government to regulate the hell out of you and complain about every single thing. And then she has these things like the 2004 Media Just Society Award, right? Just Society Award. Sounds great. Just sounds so great. But when you go to it, it's nothing. There's nobody's there. It's like this company that just, I don't know. Maybe she buys them. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she buys her award. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'm sure she's aight. I'm sure she's aight. I mean, she has appeared on NPR, MSNBC, CNN, Democracy Now. I mean, I kind of expect that from this particular activist journalist. So I can see why it was so biased and why it was so leaning. But I have to be honest with you, Liliana, I don't think you're really watching my show. But I know you're probably the person that's kind of the heads and the brains behind the article on Kelly Siegler. Next time you want to bash somebody, get a better case subject. Ron, nah, you got no sympathy for me. I don't think you have a whole lot of sympathy from any of my my subscribers related to this case. I really don't. I have no clue, but I definitely don't think we're simping for the biased activist journalist that wrote this this article. So there you guys have it. I hope you learned something. That rounds out our entire segment on the trial tiger, Kelly Siegler from Cold Justice, as we are covering Cold Justice Star Under Fire. Star Under Fire. We had a 5-part series on this. And I think we will talk about it. We're probably not going to talk about it today. It's almost Christmas and I still have another show to get ready for. So Christmas Eve, guys. This is going to be how it's going to go. Christmas Eve. You may get me in the morning. Okay. I will be working Christmas. Okay. So you got your choice of Christmas Eve or Christmas. I'm going to give you a little bit of Betty on Christmas Eve. Okay. You guys are going to still see me tomorrow morning at 6:30. Okay. I'm not going to leave you like that. But I have a funny feeling you're not going to see me the rest of Christmas Eve. You won't see me again until Christmas Day, because Christmas Day, I'm doing 2 shows here because I love you guys. And this is me being here is my present to each and every one of you, because I can't go out and hand out a whole, hundreds and hundreds of presents. But what I can do is I can make myself available to you guys on Christmas. That's my present to you. So anyways, guys, God bless you. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. If I don't see you the rest of the day or until after the holidays, enjoy your family. Unplug. I'm not getting my feelings hurt that you guys are unplugging for the holidays. You need to. We all need some downtime. So don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Don't forget, tonight at 6:30, we are going over Louis Lent's case. Louis Lent, acclaimed serial killer of children. All right, of children. But is he? We're gonna break down the 2 cases, his 2 convictions, and that's why we're questioning: is he really a serial killer? There is some information that might be leaning that way. So let's take a look. We're going to look under the hood at 6:30 this evening. Be there or be square. God bless.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.